There's many times where I get asked the question, how do I pick the right cloud provider and how do I know my data is safe in the cloud? And I think there's some general bullet points that I'm going to share with you that you ought to consider every time you're thinking about moving something, some workload to the cloud. Primarily, the first thing is there's really no difference between whether you're putting something in another provider's data center or it's in your data center, whether you're talking about a private cloud you build yourself or a private cloud you're consuming from a provider. You ought to have the same considerations in either case. So first off, most importantly, do not entrust your security to somebody else. You have your security documents, policies, procedures, best practices documented for a reason. Make sure that whatever provider you go to adheres to those, has controls in place to adhere to your security policies and procedures. Do your homework on the provider. Don't go to a provider you haven't done research on. Make sure that they have a track record of reliability and security. And in the event that they've had documented incidents, make sure you understand what those incidents were and what the remediation was to get through those. The next real big topic that you want to think through is selecting the specific workloads that can be moved to the cloud. Not every workload can move to the cloud cleanly. Not every workload can work in a distributed model where parts are in the cloud and parts are in a local infrastructure. So you'll want to do your research to understand that your application will work well within a cloud environment. And you'll want to move an entire application ecosystem to the cloud so that you could take advantages of that provider's core data center network as opposed to relying on distributed and high latency bandwidth across public internets. Also, you'll want to make sure that you find a provider in context of what application workload you move that has experience doing integration. Not only integrating with the suite of services they offer in the cloud, but also giving you the capability to integrate back into your environment so that if there are applications inside your private cloud or inside your data centers that need to talk to and integrate with those workloads you put into the cloud, that they have experience with those integrations so that they can help you get through any of the roadblocks and hurdles that come up. The next point to really consider is you absolutely don't want to compromise your security. Again, whatever types of security controls you put in place should extend to the cloud. You should have firewalls in the cloud just like you would do in your data center. Those firewalls are important to protect your core network from the public internet and not allow unwanted access to that infrastructure. You should not allow any direct access to your core. As an example, you don't want to have a server that's inside your core network, whether it's in the cloud or inside your data center, that can be publicly accessed through ports or full IP access. And lastly, you want to make sure that there's no administration that happens over the public internet. A lot of cloud providers out there today want you to be able to administer your servers either through a web control panel or direct RDP or SSH access to the server itself. It's not necessarily the best approach to doing it. You'll want to make sure that you have VPN connectivity into the cloud provider so that you have a secure network and that you feel comfortable that this is an extension of your network as opposed to some servers floating in the cloud out there somewhere. Lastly, you don't want to compromise your reliability. Just like you would do the due diligence when you're building a solution in-house to build the optimal reliability to meet your recovery point and recovery time objectives, you'll want to do the same thing in the cloud. So understand what reliability controls and capabilities the cloud provider has to offer you and make smart decisions based on each application, which ones you want to deploy to get the optimal reliability or recovery time and recovery point objectives met for that application. In other words, some applications you might want to recover in an hour, some applications you might be okay with if they're down for a day, and there's different price points you're going to pay. The important thing is that the provider you pick should give you the flexibility to have different RTOs and RPOs for each application. And then finally, don't compromise your business needs and requirements for any technology constraints. Make sure that your business decisions drive your technology decisions and not the other way around. Don't pick a solution or a capability or a technology to deliver your cloud services and modify your business requirements because that application stack is constrained and won't allow you to do what you need to do. Pick a partner that gives you the flexibility to implement your business needs and not force you to adapt to their technology needs.